Fids, it's the mid-14th century. A ship drifts into a Sicilian port. The townspeople who gather to greet it are met with a horrifying sight. Most of the sailors aboard are dead, and the few who are still alive are gravely ill, covered in black boils that ooze blood and pus. This was one of the first introductions of the Black Death to Europe, an event that would change the course of human history forever. But the Black Death wasn't just a European crisis, it was one of the first truly global pandemics. It swept across Asia, the Middle East, and North Africa, before arriving in Europe in 1347. The culprit, a bacterium called Yersinia pestis, carried by fleas on black rats that were common passengers on merchant ships. This was the bubonic plague, and it was about to unleash a nightmare on a scale the world had never seen before. So, how devastating was it? The numbers are staggering and almost hard to comprehend. Historians estimate that the Black Death killed between 75 and 200 million people worldwide. In Europe alone, the toll was catastrophic. We're talking about a population reduction of anywhere from 30% to a staggering 60%. Imagine walking through a city where more than half the people you know, your family, your friends, your neighbors are gone. Entire villages were wiped off the map, leaving behind only silent, empty houses. The disease itself was terrifying. It earned its name, the Black Death, from the gruesome symptoms. The most characteristic sign was the appearance of buboes, painful swollen lymph nodes, typically in the groin, armpits or neck, that could grow to the size of an apple. These would eventually turn black as the tissue died. Victims also suffered from high fevers, chills, vomiting, and extreme pain. The progression was swift and brutal. For many, death came within a matter of days. The physical suffering was immense, with reports of flesh literally rotting while the person was still alive. It was a cruel, agonizing way to die. In a time before modern medicine, people had no idea what was causing this wave of death. Theories ranged from divine punishment and a misalignment of the planets to bad air or miasma. Doctors in their famous beaked masks, filled with herbs to ward off the contagion, were powerless. They tried lancing the buboes and bloodletting, but these treatments were often more harmful than helpful. The sheer panic and lack of understanding led to social breakdown. People abandoned their sick family members, and the normal rituals of life and death collapsed. Mass graves were dug to accommodate the overwhelming number of bodies, but humanity is resilient. The Black Death, for all its horror, eventually receded, and its aftermath was profound. With so many workers gone, the labor market was turned upside down. Peasants and laborers who survived found their skills in high demand. They could suddenly command higher wages and better conditions, which helped to erode the old feudal system and sow the seeds of a new social order. The plague also spurred innovations in public health, with cities like Venice creating the first quarantine systems to control the spread of disease, a practice we are all too familiar with today. 2. The Black Death serves as a powerful reminder of how vulnerable we can be to disease, but also of our capacity to survive, adapt, and rebuild. It's a dark but crucial chapter in our shared story. It shaped our world in countless ways, from our social structures to our understanding of medicine. Thanks for watching. If you found this journey into the past interesting, please hit that like button. Subscribe for more deep dives into history. And let me know in the comments what historical event you'd like me to cover next. See you in the next video. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to live through one of the deadliest pandemics in human history? Picture this, it's the mid-14th century. A mysterious and terrifying illness sweeps across the globe, leaving a trail of devastation in its wake. This wasn't just any disease. It was the Black Death, a pandemic of bubonic plague that would forever alter the course of history. It all started in the 1340s, likely originating in Asia and traveling along the Silk Road. By 1347, it had reached the shores of Europe, carried by rats on merchant ships. From there, it spread like wildfire. Imagine entire towns and villages being wiped out in a matter of months. The scale of the tragedy is almost impossible to comprehend. Historians estimate that the Black Death killed between 75 and 200 million people worldwide. In Europe alone, it's believed that up to 60% of the entire population perished. Think about that for a second. More than half the people gone. What made this plague so terrifying was not just how fast it spread, but the brutal nature of the illness itself. The disease was caused by the bacterium Yersinia pestis, transmitted by fleas that lived on black rats. Once a person was infected, the symptoms were horrific. It often began with fever, chills, and weakness. But then came the telltale sign, the buboes. These were painful, swollen lymph nodes, usually in the groin, armpits, or neck, that could grow to the size of an apple. As the disease progressed, it could lead to internal bleeding, causing large dark bruises to appear on the skin, which is how it got the name Black Death. For many, the suffering was unimaginable, with their own bodies seeming to rot while they were still alive. The impact on society was profound. With so many people dying, the very fabric of daily life unraveled. Labor became scarce, which ironically led to better wages and conditions for the surviving peasants. The old feudal system began to crumble. People's faith was shaken to its core. Some turned to extreme religious piety, believing the plague was a punishment from God. Others abandoned all moral constraints, living for the moment because they believed death was just around the corner. Doctors and clergy, who were on the front lines trying to help the sick, died in huge numbers. Medieval medicine, based on theories of humors and miasmas or bad air, was completely powerless against this microscopic killer. The Black Death wasn't a single event. It returned in waves for centuries, though never with the same ferocity as that initial outbreak. It shaped art, literature, and the collective psyche of generations. It forced people to confront their own mortality in a way that few ever have. This catastrophic event ultimately paved the way for massive social and economic changes, leading Europe out of the Middle Ages and toward the Renaissance. 2. Dark but crucial chapter in our shared human story. A stark reminder of our vulnerability and our incredible resilience in the face of overwhelming disaster. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this glimpse into the past fascinating, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into history. See you next time.